Oh boy, do I have a video for you guys today. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today, as the Bill Hinman emails have been released, and oh my goodness, has the evidence been pointing in the XRP Army's direction even more after today. Here, I have this evidence from the Bill Hinman docs and the documents that have been released that, based on the above analysis and subject to the qualifications and assumptions set forth herein, we believe, as of the date of this memorandum, that you have reasonable grounds to conclude that XRP does not satisfy all elements of the Howey test and is therefore not a security. For purposes of the federal securities laws, we have an admission from these SEC documents that XRP is not a security. This is absolutely unbelievable. And something all of you need to know is, we've always been correct. The Bill Hinman documents were absolutely nothing more than the confirmation we needed to know that we are pointed in the right direction. We have been unjustly targeted by bad actors and politicians, and at the end of the day, it's cost us profits. It's cost us liquidity, and it's cost us adoption. What can we as a community do other than continuing to uncover the truth? And even Brad Garlinghouse said it best. It's inconceivable that a regulator, when presented with so much pushback on what he was about to say, how he complied with this fake test in the first place, decided to move forward anyway and throw an entire industry into chaos. And let's be very clear, he did it for millions upon millions of dollars. Bill Hinman is guilty as charged. And for the SEC to sue Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson for allegedly selling unregistered securities when their own division had deliberately created confusion about this. I don't have a single polite word to describe this deplorable political motivated overreach. Seeing the depth of which the SEC has essentially weaponized the lack of regulatory clarity through enforcement and profited nonetheless is unbelievable. And this is where the pushback begins. The Hinman emails are going to help Coinbase, Ether, Ripple, and potentially even Binance's fair notice defense. And that will ultimately help with us as retail investors. We have been pushed around long enough by the SEC, and now I finally think the communities in crypto will be coming together. Now, more evidence from the Bill Hinman emails is that Bill Hinman called Vitalik Buterin to make sure he was happy with the speech. Hinman sought advice from the creator of Ethereum to see if ETH was a security or not. Absolutely unbelievable. He also sent this to 19 other SEC staff members. But remember, he stated, this is just my personal opinion. The highlighted portion of this document is where this confirms that call with Vitalik took place. Maybe that's why Vitalik was over here talking shit when the lawsuit started, calling XRP a shitcoin. And maybe that's why Joe Lubin and Mike Novogratz have continuously always downplayed Ripple. This is an unbelievable turn of events. And all of you need to know that the XRP community has been vindicated. Not only that, but don't forget that Binance filed its brief today. And look at what argument it raised. It's an argument that Ripple used. An investment contract requires a contract. This defense is spreading. And I need all of you to know that we've been part of a movement to get overall clarity for the entirety of the crypto space. We are pioneers, despite what anyone else says. This is the greatest community in crypto as a whole, and it's not even close. So much so that our Fire Gary Gensler campaign has been taken to Congress as House Republicans have introduced a bill to remove SEC Chair Gary Gensler. Like I said before, I'll say again. Republicans are now more pro-crypto while Democrats are more anti-crypto and pro-CBDCs. This is an interesting politicization of the crypto market. And I think we can all say that we want Gary Gensler out. In my personal opinion, I believe with Congress fully activated, with the corruption of the SEC's prior administration in full effect, and with people disliking Gary Gensler absolutely and ultimately, I think we're finally going to get the action in this market that we deserve. We need chess pieces to move correctly in the right direction. But today was a massive day. I believe the overall crypto market got a revelation. ETHgate is real. The XRP army has always been correct. The Hinman docs revealed that SEC even came to the conclusion before that XRP was not a security. And all I have to say is this. We're going to cross the finish line, the new 1%. We're not going to go up in a straight line. We're going to have a bumpy road through regulations and utility. But XRP along with Bitcoin will be the only two digital assets in the overall crypto market that will have clarity. At the very least. And this judge's summary judgment is for all the marbles. I believe we're going to win. And I think a lot of you, after today, think so too. Now guys, to cap off this video for today, I'm gonna play you the Ripple Bill Hinman email video release as it proves everything we've always known. And I also want to announce that tomorrow I have a massive interview with Expector and Bob Way. I believe Expector is building the Google of the metaverse right here on the XRP ledger. And I hope all of you are extremely excited to hear all the secrets that they've been working on behind the scenes that will be uncovered. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
On June 14, 2018, then SEC Director of Corporation Finance William Hinman gave a high-profile speech where he declared that a token is not a security when it becomes, quote, sufficiently decentralized. But internal emails and documents show that senior SEC officials repeatedly warned Hinman that his speech wasn't true to the law and would greatly confuse the markets even more than they already were. Now, after more than 2 years and 7 court orders, we can finally share some of what we found in the Hinman speech documents. The SEC head of trading and markets warned Hinman that he was making up factors that, quote, go beyond the typical Howey analysis, as in not in the law, and that the speech could lead to not just confusion, but greater confusion on what is a security. Hinman ignored him.
If the network on which the token or coin is to function is sufficiently decentralized, and the purchasers no longer have a reasonable expectation that a person or a group is going to carry out essential managerial or entrepreneurial efforts, those assets might not represent an investment contract.
The same official told Hinman he should tie his speech, quote, more closely and explicitly to the Howey analysis. Hinman not only ignored him, but deliberately created factors beyond those identified by the Supreme Court in the Howey case.
I wanted to just note a few things. This list is not meant to be exhaustive, but these are things that we look at.
The SEC's own general counsel warned specifically that it's legally irrelevant if someone retains a stake in a token and is motivated to take action to increase its value, and that Hinman should delete it from the speech. And once again, Hinman ignored them and said without any legal support that it was important to ask.
Has that person or group retained a stake or other interest in the digital asset such that it would be motivated to expend efforts to cause an increase in the value of the digital asset?
Both Trading and Markets and the General Counsel also disagreed with Hinman's belief that if a network was sufficiently decentralized, information asymmetries would no longer exist, noting that a network creator would likely have more information than a retail holder, using Vitalik Buterin as an example. They warned Hinman that by creating this, quote, other category and focusing on information asymmetries, he was exposing a regulatory gap that the SEC may not have the jurisdiction to fill. Again, Hinman ignored them.
As the network becomes more truly decentralized, the ability to identify a promoter or to make the requisite, and someone that could actually make the requisite disclosures becomes in many cases difficult or and perhaps much less meaningful.
On June 4th, Hinman wrote that he didn't see a, quote, need to regulate Ether as a security, and set up a call with Ethereum's co-founder Vitalik Buterin later that week to, quote, confirm our understanding. On June 11th, the SEC's own General Counsel advised against including any direct statement about Ether in the speech because it would be difficult for the SEC to, quote, take a different position on Ether in the future. The next day, Trading and Markets wrote that the statements about Ether were, quote, likely to create more confusion. Hinman ignored all of them and decided to make headlines, picking winners and losers instead.
Moreover, putting aside the fundraising that accompanied the creation of Ether, based on my understanding of the present state of Ether, the Ethereum network, its decentralized structure, we believe current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions.
The emails show that Hinman knew he wasn't following the law. He knew he was making things up, and he knew that his speech would result in greater confusion in an already confused market. But Hinman went ahead with the speech anyway, and the SEC, despite knowing all this, touted the speech repeatedly. The SEC chairman himself pointed market participants to the speech.
Bill Hinman recently outlined the approach we take to evaluate whether a digital asset is a security, and I encourage you to take a look at Bill's speech, which is available on our website.
The SEC knew the speech didn't follow the law. The SEC knew the speech would create greater confusion, and the SEC knew Hinman was making things up. So why is the Hinman speech still on the SEC's website? Why was it ever allowed to be given at all? And why has the SEC pushed a policy of regulation by enforcement, falsely insisting the rules are clear?
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's CBDC effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors? Former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany? Former business director at Swift? Former Swift board member? Former CFO of PayPal? Former head of the DTCC? Former chief business officer at Uber? Former VP of Amazon and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple. Who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website? Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.